Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Welcome back. It's the end of the week for me. I'm glad this is a week. And, of course, around here, these parts, that means it's time for the weekly reading update. So let's do a quick chat about what I got into this past week. Another pretty good week. So, let's dig into it. So I finished up first Reborn yesterday. I don't know, I got in the mood for a romance. I hadn't read one in a little while, and I don't know, I just felt like reading a little romance story. And I've had this one on my Kindle for a little while. When it first came out, I think a couple of years ago now, I was all excited about it. And then, of course, proceeded to not read it, like you do. So I finally pulled it up, and it was definitely a lot of fun and really sweet and slightly steamy, a little sexy. Yeah, it was good. And this is a vampire romance. So if you're into paranormal romance, that's actually not super dark. This might be one that you would like to check out. So we've got our main character or the lady lead. I'm forgetting her name, of course, right now. But this takes place on Coney Island too, which is like a really fun setting for any kind of story, I think. But she actually works at a funeral home, and it's a family business. Her father, she inherited from her father when he passed away, and she's kind of the weird, the weird woman who works at the funeral home. And so one day, this body turns up, and she's, going to start the process of getting it, ready for, the service and all of that. And when you know it, the body just kind of pops up and says hello. And of course, he's a vampire. And that just starts the story of them two falling in love with each other. And yeah, it was sweet. It is a fated mate kind of story. So maybe you like or don't like those kinds of stories. So I'll let you know that up front. I don't know. The characters were really cool. There's also this sort of side character who's like a vampire slayer who doesn't actually seem to really like slaying, or doesn't ever seem to want to slay vampires. Her name's Roxana. I remember her name. She was a lot of fun. I don't know, it was super fun, and just, it was a really light story. Even though it's a vampire story, it wasn't a super dark, kind of romance. It was still kind of light and just sweet and fun, and like I said, some pretty good steaminess to it also. So it fit the bill for what I was looking for at the time. And there are two more in the series that follows, one follows that vampire slayer who happens to have fallen for a vampire, of course. So maybe I'll pick those up at some point. But they were fun. So, yeah. It was fun. Did I say those were by Tessa Bailey? If I didn't, that's by Tessa Bailey. So it was cute and fun, and I liked it. I did also finish Watership Down by Richard Adams. This technically was a reread for me, and sometimes you reread a book and you're like, am I sure that I've read this before? Definitely some things I didn't quite remember. Definitely some things I remembered. I don't remember it being that long. It's actually quite a long book. But, whatever, that's fine. I ended up pulling it up on audiobook because I still cannot find my copy on my shelf. If you've seen it, let me know. I still can't find it. But, when you swear up and down you have a copy of a book and you can't find it, it drives you up the wall. But anyway. So I pulled it up on audiobook, found I think I did this one on Hoopla, and they had a version that was narrated by Peter Capaldi, and he did a fantastic job, a really good job with all the different accents of the rabbits, and yeah, I don't know, he was great. I would definitely listen to something else he narrates if he's got anything else out there. Watership Down is a story about rabbits and them fighting their way in the rabbit world, and yeah, it's good, and I still really enjoyed it on a reread, and I love the sort of nature, descriptions, and I love Hazel. I just love Hazel so much. He's the bestest rabbit, and yeah, it was good. there are some tangents that the story takes of like the storytelling, where these rabbits will have this like storytelling time, and you hear all kinds of like rabbit lore, you know. And this time around, that stuff kind of took me way out of the story. I just found it really broke up the action of the story and the the forward momentum of the story of the actual rabbits. So I can deal without those. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I enjoy rereading. So I enjoyed my reread and my time with that book again. So yeah, I did finish my poetry reading for the month. It's a little thing, so I knew it wasn't going to take me too long, but this was fantastic. It's called Feeding the Light by Jackie Shelton Green, and she, of course, is a North Carolina Poet Laureate, and I see her on the back, or on her little author page. She's from Ebbing, North Carolina, and that's like literally like right down the road from me. Maybe I've seen her at the Walmart someday. You never know. But these were great. Very powerful. It's a mix of things. A lot about race and history, roots, that kind of thing. Relationships. Yeah, really good stuff. And again, that cover. Every time I look at this cover, I'm just like, oh, it's so good. So yeah, I enjoyed this. Enjoyed that one. And just today, I finished Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby, and I really loved this. I thought this was fantastic. And it's getting glowing reviews, and for a reason, y'all. This is so good. And, the gist of it is we've got a sort of a young gay married couple, two men that have been murdered. They're married, but they were also murdered. And we then meet their two dads, Ike and Buddy Lee, and they're murdered quite violently, and the police are not quite finding a lot of leads, and they don't the parents are like, are they actually working on the case, that kind of thing. And so their two dads, Ike and Buddy Lee, are like, maybe we need to just kind of poke around a little bit on our own, And so the story goes from there, and they definitely get wrapped up in all kinds of stuff. And it's just so good. It's very bittersweet because both of the men, well, to put it nicely, were unkind. They weren't accepting of their sons as gay men, and like I said, weren't always supportive, weren't always kind, said mean things, And so they died, with them feeling that way about them. And so it's bittersweet, because of course, when everything shakes out at the end, their boys are still dead, and they're left, with those feelings that they didn't treat them very well growing up, but hopefully moving forward things will change. It's got grittier than I thought it was going to be. I didn't know what to expect this first time I read S.A. Cosby. But yeah, he goes to some places here with, because our two fathers are actually ex-cons too, so they aren't afraid to get a little dirty, if you know what I mean. And there's like a motorcycle gang involved. I mean, it goes to some places, and I just enjoyed it. It was just the last quarter I flew through. It was, oh my gosh, it was action packed. I mean, nonstop. What's going on? Who? What? Yeah, what? Finding out everything. Oh my god, it was just so good. I really, 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 really loved this. And what I really also enjoyed was that it's set in Virginia. So I'm from North Carolina, so Virginia's right, my neighbor, right up to the north. It just mentions of things. Every time you hear mentions of things that you're familiar with. Things like going to the Hardee's for a biscuit in the morning, and driving a certain road. I think 360 was mentioned. So yeah, sites around Richmond, Virginia, which is a pretty great city, and I've been there a few times, and So some of the story takes place in Richmond. So yeah, I don't know, man, this was great. So I highly recommend it if you've been thinking about reading it and you haven't yet. Definitely give it a go. It's just really good. It has a lot of heart. Characters are just great. The story, the pacing was fantastic. I mean, even from start to finish, I just was enthralled with this story and figuring out what happened, to the two, I say boys, but they're the young men. So yeah, good stuff. Really good stuff. So definitely read it. It was good. So those are things I finished this week. Pretty good week, I'd say. Let's see my in progress stack here. I'm of course still working on the Paper Menagerie and Other Stories by Ken Liu. These are great. I've gotten a bit behind on my short story reading. I don't think I read very many this week. I'm finding it hard to kind of squeeze them in some days just because of going back to work full time. I've mentioned all of that, but I used to be able to sit in the mornings and drink and read my story for the day, and but I just don't have that time in the mornings anymore. But this story right here, the Litter Romancer, and would you look at that? When I'm telling you that I am like sobbing at the end of that story, I'm sobbing at the end of that story. It was so good. These stories have been great so far, so I'm slowly making my way through. It's fine. I don't rush these. It's fine. I'll get through it. But loving it still. I did make a start on Hill House by Richard Matheson. Not very far. Not very far at all. Basically, we've gotten to the house, and they're exploring the place a little bit. That's about where I've gotten to. So we'll see where it goes from there. Maybe this weekend I can dig into this a little bit more. We'll see. And then I started an ebook also, and I've about 75% about the way through this one. Book of the Damned. Who was it? D.A. Fowler? D.F. Fowler. D.A. Fowler, I think. I'm drawing a blank. But anyway, I'm enjoying the hell out of this book, so I cannot wait to see how this thing is going to finish out and talk to you guys about this, because it is bananas. I guess that's all I'm gonna say. It has been really fun, so I've enjoyed the hell out of that. So yeah, that's good stuff. And that's it. I think that's what I've got so far. I'm looking around, make sure I didn't have like stacks of things anywhere. I think so. Let me check this stack. Sometimes I put stuff here when I'm finished with it. Did I talk about this? No, I can't remember. Did I talk about Blob that hated everyone? Maybe I didn't. So I read this Goosebumps too, if I haven't talked about it yet. And it was okay. It was a fun one. Hasn't been my favorite so far. I've read like 4 or 5 Goosebumps books I've read. But it was cute. It was like this young guy and kids. He wants to write. He likes to write scary stories, and he gets this typewriter that maybe makes his stories come to life, including this large blob. It was fun. It's Goosebumps, you know what I mean? And I think I talked about it already, so I'm sorry if this is a duplicate chat. But I think that's it. So I did get a little bit of book mail, because I am who I am. I'm sorry, they fell on the floor. So my friend Kelly from Kelly Hooked on Books, I talk about her a lot on this channel because she's great. I will link her channel below. Please go check her out. She sent along some books to me. Smoke Gets in Your Eyes by Caitlin Dowdy, and I've been wanting to read this about her working at a crematory. She sent along this one by Ronald Kelly. Very excited. And this one, Magpie by Elizabeth Day. I think this is maybe a thriller, domestic thriller maybe. I'll see. I had to snag a copy of Black Pepper Red Wolf, and I really wanted the hardback. I'm not normally a hardback snob, but I just wanted it, and then I just went ahead and picked up book 2, Moon Witch, Spider King. These covers are just, can you even? Because I can't even, okay? So, Brad, when are we going to be reading that? Let me know. And then just today, I got Devil's Creek by Todd Keesley in the mail. I've read this already, and I really loved this book. And he's someone that got kind of caught up in the Silver Shamrock brouhaha. And he posted on Twitter that he had some copies of this left in his store. And, you know, if you get one while you can kind of thing. So I jumped on that, and he signed it and sent it my way. So I'm really excited to have a copy of this on my shelf, because again, I did really love this, and it's got great cool illustrations along the way too. Yeah, so just happy to have a copy for my shelf. And that's it. That's my week. Let me know what you got into this week. Did you have some good reads? I hope so. It's Easter weekend coming up, so we're going to be doing some family stuff this weekend. Looking forward to that, because we've seen some family that I've not seen in 2 years because of COVID, so I'm looking forward to it. Let me know your plans, or what you got her into reading. If you're ready to these, let me know. Of course, I always love chatting with you in the comments. And that's going to do it for me. So until next time, I hope that you're doing well. Lots of love. Bye.